What's going on, everybody? I hope you're having an amazing day. As always, I'm here with the breaking news, at least it was breaking within the last couple hours or so, that President Trump has signed the $1.3 trillion spending bill, I guess nicknamed Omnibus. Now they got little nicknames for bills. That's cute. And pretty much everyone's disappointed. Obviously, you know, the Democrats and the Trump haters, they're mad at everything he does. It doesn't matter what he does. He can make it rain. He can make it shine. They're just literally programmed zombies that run in circles for pretty much the worst people on the planet. But with this one, he disappointed his supporters as well. So let's wait about a minute or so for people to get into the live stream. And then I'm going to read you some highlights from the bill, what I personally think, and also, you know, what's going on. So let's wait 30 seconds. Thank you guys so much for joining. As always, I'm going to post my links after if you'd like to support. I'm going to have my donor box link. I promise you I will not sign into legislation, any bills on you guys. One, I'm not a politician. You know, two, I'll continue to work hard and try to say the right things to help people. I'm going to post my free email list too. But all right, let's get into it. So President Trump came out and he said he was, you know, considering vetoing this omnibus bill, who luckily, there was one person in Washington who was actually working hard yesterday, which was Senator Rand Paul, a Republican senator. And the irony of this, before I get into all of these highlights that Rand Paul, you know, pointed out, is that Rand Paul's probably one of the only decent people in Washington who actually does his job, actually cares about people, and will say the truth regardless of if it goes Republican or Democrat. And the irony of that is some fanatical Democrat literally tackled him on his property and broke half of his ribs. So it's like we literally have people trying to kill the only decent person in Washington. I'm just throwing that out there. This is the world we live in. It's like, oh my God, somebody in Washington does his job. Let's try to kill him real quick. So Rand Paul's been working with broken ribs. He's had trouble breathing for, you know, half the year. And he's still doing a better job than everyone else. So just a side note before I even get into the omnibus bill, here's a crazy idea. Let's not try to break the ribs of the only person who actually works in Washington. I understand you watch Jimmy Kimmel and you just, you know, run in circles like a programmed zombie because you're programmed by the media or whatever, but try not to kill the only person who actually does a decent job in Washington. Thank you on behalf of the entire world and the United States of America. So I'm just going to read some highlights from the omnibus bill. There's it's $1.3 trillion. Trillion dollars. You know, $1 billion is 1,000 million or a million thousands. $1 trillion is 1,000 billion. So just try to think of how much money that is that we just spent. We're going to spend this stuff anyway, but $1.3 trillion. $1 billion is 1,000 millions. $1 trillion is 1,000 billions. It's unfathomable amount of money. It makes me want to throw up, but I won't. So in this bill was $12 million for scholarships in Lebanon. So it's good, you know. It's half America's, you know, under the poverty line, and you know, we're struggling here, but you know, it's good that we're giving $12 million for scholarships in Lebanon. Sounds like a really important thing for national security. $20 million for Middle East Partnership Initiative Scholarship Program. So that's nice. We're taking care of the Middle East. We're bombing them. We're funding moderate rebels to, I wonder why the rest of the world hates us besides, you know, the Western world of like programmed liberals who hate us because Jimmy Kimmel says so. $20 million. So we drop bombs on them. We literally fund moderate rebels and, you know, rogue terrorists to infiltrate their country and start a civil war. So we can install a puppet president. So, you know, John McCain or Hillary Clinton can have their puppet friend be the president. But then we give them $20 million in scholarship initiative programs. So that's really nice of us. $12 million in military funding for Vietnam. It's good to know. I didn't even know Vietnam had a military, but now that we know, they're being funded by our taxpayer dollars. That's always good to know. But don't worry, we're already trillions of dollars in debt to China, so all of this doesn't really matter. First of all, the whole fiat currency system is basically controlled by the Federal Reserve, which is, you know, never was intended by the founding fathers. It was only created less than 100 years ago, or a little bit over 100 years ago, I believe, in the early 1900s. So first of all, the money's not really real anyway. We're based on a debt system that they kind of just make and print, and there's numbers on the screen, and you see them, they just go blah 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 blah. They just go like that, and then we go to work, and then we get that money there. But that's we're already trillions of dollars of debt anyway, so why not? Why not give $12 million to military funding in Vietnam? $3.5 million in nutrition assistance to Laos. Wow. I got bullet points on bullet points here, but it's good to know that we don't care about our own nutrition. $3.5 million in nutrition assistance to Laos. We have the worst food and the worst quality meat in the entire world. For the greatest country in the world, we are the greatest country, among ourselves. That's how we feel. We say, America, we're the best. We want to stay the best. We have the worst meat. If somebody comes from South America, or they come from the Middle East, the place that we're giving our money to apparently, they say, what's going on with the meat here? There's so many hormones in it. There's so much chemicals. Like, it's not even bleeding. It's not even real. We have some of the worst quality food in the world, but we're giving $3.5 million in nutrition assistance to Laos, because I'm sure Laos really needs our nutrition assistance. We gave a program, Got Milk. We told all of America to drink a lot of milk, even though it's terrible for you, just so the milk companies could sell a lot of milk. So here's a crazy spoiler alert, and here's something that I was looking forward to with President Trump, and I'm still looking forward to it. I'm not as pessimistic as everyone else. I'll get into that later. But why don't we focus on our own nutrition? We have horrible nutrition here. We have so many obese people. 100,000 times people die, hundreds times more people, tens of thousands of more people die from bad nutrition in our country. We have some of the worst nutrition in the world. It kills tens of thousands of times more people than guns do, but let's not talk about that. But 3.5 million nutrition assistance to Laos. We're nutritionally assisting Laos. $15 million in developmental assistance to China. Wow, $15 million. This is a $1.3 trillion. See, this is what happens. This is why, before I even continue, we're trillions of dollars in debt to China, but we're giving $15 million in developmental assistance. They don't need our developmental assistance. They literally already own half the properties in Los Angeles, and they own, half of like the most popular streets, the most profitable streets they own already. We need developmental assistance from China. We need to figure out how to develop like they do, but we're giving our money to China. This is why it's very, very important to really drain the swamp on a full extent, because you have people in Washington, you have a broken system, Democrats and Republicans, that they will pass a $1.3 trillion spending bill. $1.3 trillion. It's disgusting how much money that is. It's over $1,000 billion. They'll pass a bill before they even read it. And it's not even their fault. It's our fault for not even paying attention until now. Now people are upset for the first time maybe ever. You have people who supported a 500-page net neutrality bill, and they never even read the damn thing. It's like the TV says, net neutrality, we're going to save the web. And everyone's like, oh, we got to save it. You don't even know what it says. Did you read it? Did you read all 500 pages or thousands of pages? What is this, 2,000-page spending bill? They don't even have time to read it. They'll pass legislation before they can even read it. But we already do that anyway. That we do it every single time we use an Apple device, and iTunes and Google and Facebook. How many times have we clicked the check button and just signed our entire lives away to something that we didn't even read? It's amazing. We might already be slaves. Who knows? I mean, I'm probably a slave to Apple. I've checked the box 10,000 times because I didn't feel like reading 50 pages. $15 million in developmental assistance to China. $10 million for women LEOs in Afghanistan. That's great. We're dropping bombs in Afghanistan, but we're helping the women. That's always nice. $1 million for the World Meteorological Organization. Okay, that's great. We'll study the stars. That's nice. $218 million for promoting democracy development in Europe. President Trump said, I don't want to sign it, but I'm going to do it for national security reasons. How does $218 million, this is disgusting, give me that money. I'll make democracy in Europe. Give me $10 million. You'll never see me again. And I will make Europe a more democratic place. I promise you. How are we going to spread democracy to Europe when we don't even have democracy here? It's an oligarchy at best, turning into a straight fascist, extremist, left-wing communist regime. We have the most conservative, level-headed, common-minded president ever, and we're still moving far left. That's how far the swamp goes, because the tech companies, the lunatic liberals, and the Jimmy Kimmels and the Trevor Noahs, they think they're such good people that even with a Republican Congress and a Senate, we're just moving further and further left into complete oblivion, and the Republicans are just Democrats too. It's funny because before I even get into some other stuff in here, there's classics on classics on classics. You got to understand that this is going to really tank the Republicans probably. I mean, the Republicans had a lot of momentum. They had a lot of anti-war people. They had a lot of, Trump supporters who really followed, and I'm sure they still will. And, I hope the good people do well. I always say, try to find someone like a Rand Paul who actually does something. I don't care if they're Democrat or Republican, just do something. But it's going to really throw a wrench in for the Trump agenda and the Republicans, because you have to understand, anybody who supports the modern-day Democrats, they don't know why they're doing it. They're kind of like where Trump was. They ruined his character so much that his stock couldn't really tank anymore. It's like they character assassinated President Trump so he could only get better. Similar to how the Democrats are now, because if you support the Democrats now, you're probably a complete moron. No offense. You're probably a brainwashed, fanatical extremist, and you have no idea because you just believe what Apple says and Twitter says and Facebook says, and you're constantly bombarded with propaganda. So you don't even know why you like the Democrats. So they don't need a reason. Trump had a reason. Trump had momentum. Democrats don't need a reason to win, because there's millions of people who will literally assemble like toy soldiers, like little robots programmed by the TV, to go vote for these people who they have no idea who they are. They don't know what they're going to do. They don't know how they're better, because they're not better, because the Democrats have no policy. They have no strategy. Their whole strategy is, we hate America. We hate white people. We hate Christians. We hate white women. We hate black and Latino people who don't agree with us. And we hate President Trump. That's their agenda. So it's, you don't need a lot there, because if anybody's supporting their, turn a fence into a wall, that's racist. Oh, stop killing people in the Middle East, that's racist. It's like, that's their whole agenda. So, they're going to be semi-successful anyway, because their stock can't possibly go lower. They've literally been the scum of the earth. They've stood on a pedestal, said, hi, I am literally the scum of the earth. I'm terrible. I'm a hypocrite. I'm a two-faced liar. I'm one of the worst people on the planet. I'm just foaming at the mouth. I have no likability. I have no honesty. I have no self-accountability. I have no common sense. I have no strategy whatsoever. And people still go out and vote Democrat. So I'm just throwing it out there. It's not a good idea for the Republicans and the Trump agenda, because they're going against literal zombies, literal robots who might not even be human. They might be clones, or they might be very foolish, controlled by the little rectangle and the little square computers that just program. Oh, SNL, program. I'm going to vote for Planned Parenthood. I mean, that's what we're dealing with here, folks. So, it's not a good idea, because their stock's not going any lower. And, Trump had a lot of momentum, and he still has an uphill battle to climb, because like I said, people are literally programmed zombies on the other side. They don't know what they're doing anymore. They're literally fascists trying to stop fascism. They're rapists trying to stop rape. They're sexual assaulters trying to stop sexual assault. They're the biggest two-faced hypocrites, con men on the planet, and they run the tech industries. They run the entertainment industries. They're infiltrating music. They're infiltrating social media. They pretty much try to control the flow of information totally. So that's who we're dealing with here, folks. Back to the miserable $1.3 trillion spending bill that just got passed into legislation without even people reading it. The only one who actually read it and tried to get the information out there was Senator Rand Paul. That's why I post him so much, because he's the only half-decent person probably in Washington, or somebody who actually loves America and wants to do the right thing and be a Republican. The others are, as Trump supporters have said, rhinos, Republican in name only. They're Democrats in disguise. They're, the Democrats to me are just nothing. They're just an empty void, besides maybe Tulsi Gabbard. They're just an empty void pile of complete nothingness. And the Republicans, 95% of them are the exact same. That's why they freaked out when Trump won, because they're like, oh my goodness, people are going to realize we're just the same. We're snakes and they're snakes, and we do snake things, and we just sell our country out to foreign countries and then blame Russia for it, even though we've been doing it literally and taking lobbying money from not only foreign countries, but internally as well. That's who we're dealing with. So back to the spending bill. Sorry about my little rant. $218 million for promoting democracy development in Europe. We don't even have democracy here. We have a failing oligarchy that's turning into complete fascism, and we're very close to losing freedom of speech, like Canada and Europe, who don't have freedom of speech anywhere because they're such fanatical lunatic liberals that they're like, ooh, let's hug the extremists and let's hate on white people who actually like Western civilization. That's their new strategy. So, we have to go promote democracy to them, because we totally know what democracy is. We have rigged elections. We have a whole Democratic primary, with super delegates where there's 618 or 700 elected officials who don't vote the way the people did. So when Bernie Sanders beat Hillary Clinton still won, because it's not really a democracy. We don't actually have a democracy. President Trump wins and they install Mueller, who's just a deep state agent, who's like, I'm the democracy now. So we don't have a democracy, but your taxpayer dollars are about to spend $218 million to go tell Europe how to have a democracy. Isn't that funny? We don't have one, but we're going to take your money to go tell them how to have what we don't have. Brilliant. Thank you, Congress. $225 million for international religious freedom. I'm sure that $25 million for international religious freedom is going to do a lot, because you give $20 million, and this is what Democrats love to do, and this is why Republicans are so upset. Democrats think, and left-leaning people think, hey, let's take your money and let's give it to government, and that's going to make everything better. And people are like, yeah, let's vote Democrat. Let's take our money and give it to the government, and they're going to make everything free again. So that's the whole left. They probably don't even care. They're probably not even paying attention. But the right's upset because conservatives and libertarians and some honest people on the left are like, hey, government doesn't usually take our money and they don't do the right thing, so maybe we should stop wasting our money and giving it to government. But, this is what they're doing. $25 million for international religious freedom. Is this going to make internationally, religiously, is it going to make it freer? Is it going to stop the wars? Is it going to stop the, Muslims from fighting with the Jews, from fighting with the Christians, from fighting with the atheists? I don't know. I guess so. $25 million to government. Here you go. Make religious freedom more free. I'm sure it's really going to work. I'm sure it's not just going to go to a few people that are like community servers, that they're like, I'll take $10 million and I'll give these 20 morons $1 million, I'll give him $10,000 and $50,000, and we're the Committee for Religious Freedom, and we're going to make the world free again. I'm sure it's not going to go down like that at all. $10 million for disadvantaged Egyptian students. I mean, wow. It's great. I'm so glad we're helping Egypt. It's a great thing. Egypt's a great country. There's a lot of Egyptian students who need our help. But there's also a lot of Americans who need our help. We have a lot of problems here. We have, our school system in the United States used to be number one. Now we're like 16th or 17th on a worldwide scale. And education is one of the most important things. That's raising the generation, education, tech. But they've already completely cultural Marxized education and tech. So we're going to have a bunch of little zombies running around saying, ooh, fascism, communism, yay! But, thank goodness we gave $10 million to disadvantaged Egyptian students, because it's not like our youth needs that money. We don't have disadvantaged students here. So that's another good thing. $1.371 billion for contributions to international organizations. So that's over an entire $1 billion. And like I said, $1 billion, if anyone has a calculator and knows math, is 1,000 millions. So take $1 million 1,000 times, that's $1 billion. 1.371 billion, that's even more money. Unfathomable amounts of money. For contributions to international organizations. I'm sure that's not going to be wasted. That sounds like something that's really straightforward. Just contributions to international organizations. We're just going to contribute. We're going to take your taxpayer dollars and we're going to contribute it internationally, and it's going to help national defense. It's going to be great. You're going to be safe. I'm going to be safe. We're going to be safe. $51 million to promote international family planning and reproductive health. International family planning and reproductive health, 51 million internationally. They're not even doing this on a national scale. This is disgusting. I don't know why President Trump signed this. I don't know what little side deal was on for him. I hope he's playing 8-dimensional chess. Personally, I would say, I'm gonna get into it after I read more. There's some more on here, but you know, this is the type of stuff that I expect from the politics. That's why people say, nominee, run for office or something. First of all, nah, I'm good. Second of all, this is why I don't want to run for office, because it's just a bunch of people writing a bunch of things, and then you hide behind lawyers, and he has a lawyer, and he sues you, and then he sues you, and then he writes 10,000-page legislation, then he writes 10,000-page legislation. It's a bunch of BS. I want to be on an island drinking coconuts, maybe live streaming once a week or something. I don't want to be in Washington with a bunch of phonies who think this is a good idea, because they just took taxpayer dollars, $51 million, to promote international family planning and reproductive health. What does that even mean? What does that even mean? We have, you know, there's people in multiple countries, including ourselves, they have 5 babies. Some have no babies. Some people get their babies aborted. That's the big thing now. Liberals love it. They're like, abortion, abortion, abortion. That's our favorite thing. They're like team abortion. It's like the Patriots versus abortion in the Super Bowl, and the left is like, abortions, abortions, abortions. They love it. It's like their favorite thing. I can understand being pro-choice or pro-life, having an opinion, but I can't fathom being this obsessed with abortions. It's like they're fanatics. They love just, you know, murking off born or unborn babies, depending where you think the science falls. But apparently we need to go to other countries and promote family planning and reproductive health, because we're so good at family planning. It's not like we're injecting our 6-year-olds in the United States with hormone pills and telling them that they could be, you know, whatever they want. Be who you want to be. Here, we'll inject you with pills. Yeah, why are we going to other countries for family planning and reproductive health? We need to focus on ourselves before we stampede around the world promoting family health and democracy. That one's getting pretty old. The whole, we're going to get democracy over there. That's a bad excuse. I thought we wouldn't do that anymore. But 7 million promoting international conservation. What does that even mean? What happened to internationally conserving Gaddafi? Because the last I remember, we funded moderate rebels and we killed the leader of Libya, and then we left a power vacuum for extremists, and now there's, you know, potentially slave trade and organ harvesting going on in the region. Is the $7 million going to conserve Gaddafi, or, you know, someone that's, you know, a rightful leader? Is it going to conserve Bashir al-Assad? Because as far as I know, we're still trying to overthrow the elected leader of Syria. And recently there was a report that they found a bunch of chemical weapons with the rebels, with the terrorists. So, you know, maybe he never used chemical weapons. Whoa, maybe. Wait, are you saying the news could be lying? Could the news really lie like that and start a whole war off of a complete lie? Yeah, they do it every single day. They lie every single day to push their agenda. So no matter what happens, they do what they want to do. And then they pressure President Trump, and they corner President Trump, and they do all this stuff. So even if somebody, a rogue patriot like President Trump, wins, they swamp around him and they find a way to corner him to make him pass terrible legislation like this. But he could have vetoed it. I don't know why he did. We'll find out. We'll talk about it after. I just want to read a few more, and then I'll stop with my profound and quite entertaining sarcasm. All right, so 10 million to prevent environmental programs. Yeah, I'm sure we're going to do that very well. 5 million for Vietnam Education Foundation grants. Thank goodness the kids for Vietnam need our taxpayer dollars. 2.579 million for Commission on Security of Cooperation in Europe. Don't even know what that means, and I doubt anybody involved with that even knows what it means. $15 million to U.S. aid for promoting international higher education between universities. Thank goodness our kids are hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, because college is a major scam. They make you pay $700 for a book, but we're giving $15 million to promote higher education between universities. With all the money that we just gave to other countries to educate themselves, imagine the education that we could have had here. But money doesn't buy education. You know, you could have trillions of dollars and still not get a good education, because there's a lot of indoctrination units rather than educational facilities. They're just like, sit in this square chair and we're going to make you think just like that. 2.696 billion for international disaster assistance. We just throw money everywhere. We sell Israel weapons. We sell Palestine weapons. We give Palestine money. So during Obama's presidency, he gave $20 billion or so in weapons to Israel. And then right before the end of his presidency, he gave like $300 million to Palestine. So we give our money to Israel, and then we give our money to Palestine, and then they fight each other. Brilliant. We give billions upon trillions of dollars in weapons to Saudi Arabia. We fund the rebels. We fund them. Hey, you're a rebel here. Take some weapons. Take some weapons. But then we have the audacity to say $2.696 billion for international disaster assistance. Wow. I'm sure almost $3 billion for the international disaster assistance. I'm sure we're really going to assist really well. They need our assistance. Thank goodness that all of our money, all of our taxpayer money is going to that. But I don't really stress that much over taxpayer money because I get it. They steal our money. They waste it. They squander it. I'm used to it. You know, I'm not really tripping that much. But a few more. This is a good one. Before we got to talk about $20 million for countering foreign state propaganda. So we have a mainstream media that's either completely moronic, just out of control, probably sold out to foreign countries. You know, you have Saudi billionaires or multi-billionaires who are invested in Apple, News Corp, which owns Fox, Time Warner, which owns CNN, and pretty much, like 50 other publications. We're already so sold out to foreign state propaganda. We have the foreign propaganda in our country lying to us, telling us that Russia's doing everything, when literally Al Jazeera is a Qatar state-owned program. That's literally the government of Qatar. You have BBC, which is state-funded by UK, which is just the government of Britain. We have China, which owns Legendary Pictures now, which is one of the biggest movie companies in the world. But we focus on Russia because RT is the only problem. Ooh, we got to stop RT. They tell too much truth, so that we can't have Russia telling the truth. We need China to lie to us. We need Al Jazeera to lie to us. We need Saudi Arabia to lie to us. We need the UK to lie to us. We need our liars but we're going to spend $20 million countering foreign state propaganda. Thank goodness that we're gonna take our money and we're going to stop foreign state propaganda. Even though we're lying about it, who's going to get that money? What are they going to do? All right, I'm over it. So those are just some highlights thanks to Rand Paul. Thank you for actually pointing those out and doing your job, unlike pretty much nobody else. But the $1.3 trillion bill was passed. And I have a good gauge on it. I'm looking at what everyone's saying on Twitter. I have a lot of, Trump supporters, and I support the president as well for all of the things that he does that people in Washington never do and that you'll never hear on the news. It's nothing to do with racism, sexism, xenophobia. It has everything to do with everything that they literally never tell you because they're a bunch of phonies. Trump supporters are furious. People who support the president are very, very upset with this, and he has a very loyal base. And I've covered it accurately nearly this entire time, because the news will tell you people like Trump because they're racist, they're sexist, blah, blah, blah. Trump has one of the most intelligent fan bases in the world. It's the left who just will oppose anything he does. They won't even pay attention. But there's a lot of very intelligent Trump supporters who were following his moves, and he was making a lot of great moves. And I'm sure he's still going to make a lot of great moves. I'm not jumping off the bandwagon even as much as other people here. There's diehard Trump supporters who are even more upset about this than I am. I'm clearly not happy about it, but I've covered it accurately. Trump supporters are not dumb. They're very intelligent, and they're also probably paying attention more than maybe any other political fan base to what he actually does. That's why when he does something like this that goes against what they believe, they jump off ship and they abandon. So just letting everybody know, if anyone's new, the news has been lying about Trump's support base and Trump for the entire 2 years. They literally lie every single day and they just blast. That's what propaganda is. We don't need $20 million for countering foreign propaganda. We have enough domestic propaganda because there was an NDAA law that actually made it legal that Obama passed that no one paid attention to. So we have enough domestic propaganda anyway, so far to the point that they repeat the lie every single day, just like Joseph Goebbels' Ministry of Propaganda for Nazi Germany told you. You don't need to be true if you just keep repeating the lie, because if you repeat the lie, and then your Apple phone repeats the lie, and then the Samsung phone repeats the lie, and then your Apple computer repeats the lie, and then your Samsung Smart TV, which is literally spying on you, we found out in WikiLeaks, repeats the lie. Yes, your Samsung Smart TV, has the capability to record you, and they were doing it. Just a side note. If all of these things lie, and then people start lying, and then you see what's on the screen, literally you just read what's on the screen, and you're like, oh, this is what the truth is now, because Apple told me, and Google, and Facebook, and Twitter told me it was, and then everyone starts repeating it. That's what propaganda is. That's, the Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, check out some of his quotes. He told you what to do, and it's what the mainstream media does. They just repeat it. As B.O.B. said, repeat it. It don't take a genius to pick up the pieces. It's a good song by B.O.B. Anyway, this is what they do. And people, I got an attention, but Trump supporters knew all of this stuff. So, people know. That's why people are going to be very, very, very upset. And my thing is, I say this to the left all the time, and people get upset. I'm now going to say this to the right, because there's people that are conservative and right-wing and libertarian that are even more upset than I am. You have to understand, and I say this to everybody. I say this to the left all the time. They get mad at me. Now I'm going to say it to the right. We don't know the full story that's going on, and nobody wants to admit this. Every journalist, progressive journalist, conservative journalist, left-wing journalist, right-wing journalist, they want to act like they know everything. That's the difference between me and them. They want to act like they're better than Trump. They're better than everyone. I would have done this. I would have done this. It's great in theory. I can criticize it and say, man, I wouldn't have done this, but I'm not the president of the United States. I don't know what President Trump knows. Whether you love him or hate him, people get mad at me on the left all the time. Now maybe people will get mad on the right. I don't really care. But I don't know why he did this. You don't know why he did this. Nobody knows why he did this. Everyone's going to pretend like they know why he did this. There may be a reason that it makes sense. And nobody wants to admit this. People say, Anomaly, you're such a Trump apologist, blah, blah, blah. And actually, probably conservatives will get mad at me now. Like, no, I'm done with him. It's over. He's ruined my trust. I see all the comments people saying he's done. I'm not voting for him. He's going to get impeached. Maybe that will happen. But nobody knows. It's easy to be on the sidelines. It's easy to be me. It's easy to be you. Well, I mean, it's not easy to be us. We have our struggles too. It's not easy out here for a player. No, but it's not, I'm not saying it's easy for us, but it's easy for us to critique. It's easy to sit on the sidelines and say what President Trump should and shouldn't be doing. It's easy. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're right. But that's easy. No one knows the true full picture that's going on, because there's so much going on militarily around the world. A lot of people are saying that General Mattis made him do this. I just don't understand all of it. Like, I can't get over the fact that we're giving billions of dollars to other people's education when our education is failing. To me, it makes absolutely no sense. I'm not saying I'm happy about it. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I think it's a terrible idea. We should never be giving tens of billions of dollars to somebody else's education when our education's going down. I'm not going to ever agree with this bill. I think it's trash, and I know it's trash, and I know Washington is trash. That's why I don't really get that upset anymore. But we don't know the full story. I'm not saying it's good. It's clearly a miserable idea to me, but I would say don't jump ship just yet. Just like I always say, pay attention, because you never know. And no one knows. And that's the problem with a lot of societies. Everybody wants to be so sure of themselves. Everybody wants to be right. Everybody wants to have their opinion. And that's fine. We all deserve one. We're all entitled to it, and we might be right. But we don't know the full picture. So everyone's going to pretend like they do. Hopefully, I'm very hopeful as always. I'm very optimistic. At bare worst, it's government doing government stuff. None of this is surprising. They've done this for the past 40 years, and no one's paid attention until like last year. So that's the worst. At worst, it's politics as usual. At best, there's a reason that he did this, and hopefully something positive comes from it. That's just my optimistic spin on it. I don't agree with it, but That's just my truth bomb that nobody really ever wants to admit, is that it's easy to have an opinion on the outside. It's easy to say what you would do. It's a lot harder to be the president, be surrounded by 10,000 people that half of them or more than half of them hate you. More than half of them are literal snakes that want to take you down at every single corner. He's surrounded by snakes. He's appointing people that might not like him. He's firing people that might not like him. He has people lurking in the shadows of the White House who don't like him. So it's a lot easier to critique. It's a lot harder to know all of the stuff on his plate, and he has a lot of stuff on his plate. Just something to think about, just something to consider before you go all out and say, I'm never going to support him again. That's just my take on it. Regardless of what happens, I'm staying optimistic. I'm not really that worried about it. It's a lot of money, but I don't get mad over decimals, because I know that they're lying to us, and I know trillions of dollars, billions of dollars, it doesn't matter. We're trillions of dollars in debt. There's a reserve system that's a debt-based currency. The whole thing is a total sham anyway. So it's like, oh, whoa, we just made up money, trillion. It's like, I don't know. That's why I don't subscribe with we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and we're gonna make America rich again. It's like, nah, I don't know. I mean, I hope that our economy doesn't crash. I hope that the stocks do well, and I hope that the average person is able to live a better life. But are we going to change the money system and stuff? I never thought that was going to happen. Like, oh, we're gonna make America really rich again. It's a debt-based system. I just hope that the poor and middle-class family can improve their lives, and we can get healthy food and good access to healthcare and stuff. That's my goal. But you never really know what's going on with this stuff. Be patient, and regardless of what happens, Republican, Democrat, I will be here in some form, helping debunk stuff, try to keep it real, try to bring people together, and try to get the unfiltered, unvetted truth to the people, no matter what the tech companies do, no matter what the Democrats, Republican, or Trump does. So I will be here, putting my best foot forward for the people of the world and the United States, as always, like a true patriot. God bless. God bless you. God bless America. God bless your family, and God bless the world. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to post my links below. I'll be back later this week, and let's see what happens. Let me know your thoughts.